Hello everyone. This is Sick Day Build Part 1. This will be Sick Day Build Part 2. What we have here are two different Gundam kits. The Gundam II Magnum from the Build Diver set. This is a relatively new kit, just came out a few months back. We have the High Grade Gundam, and this is from the 90s. Bandai did not update this kit. So what I want to show you on these next set of videos, and I'm going to work on them together, is the difference in technology from that time to this time. Okay, I suspect this guy right here is going to take me an hour or two to put together. I suspect this one's going to take a lot longer, because Bandai has done a lot of work with how the models go together in that time frame. And when they say snap kit, you usually don't need glue on a Bandai kit. It will hold together and be very hard to take apart without glue. This, however, probably will need glue, probably will need seam filling and various other aspects. Now, honestly, I'm not going to do any seam filling. I will do some painting, and it's mainly detail painting. I'm going to try to build the kits the way they are built now. What I mean by that is quite a few people build Gundam kits. And I talked to a guy at Eagle Quest, and he said this is the future of modeling. In some aspects, he's right. The younger kids, they will buy a Gundam kit pretty quick because they're fun to put together. Okay, they're all these interesting shapes, and you don't need to paint them. Some people shy away from painting, and then they slowly get into painting. I was that way as a child. I didn't want to paint my models. I just want to put them together, put some stickers or decals on them, and then play with them. Honestly, it's what I did. So I'm going to go through these, looking at different aspects, and build them both up. Neither one of them should take too long. I've already started this guy, and already have part of his stuff done. But he's last. I'm going to build this one up for a bit, and I have comparison parts. Alright, so let's look at what's in this box, the Gundam II Magnum. Okay, sprue runner A is your typical multicolor sprue. Okay. And there's your V-fin on your Gundam over here. It does have a sticker sheet. Wouldn't be a Gundam without stickers, I think. It's just what they do. Stickers instead of decals because, well, you don't want to bother with the water slides. I'm glad Bandai decided the Star Wars kits might be some serious model building people and include both. But on Gundam kits, it's rare to get water slide decals. Very rare. Alright, so anyhow, there's the first baggie. Second baggie has your poly caps, the materials that make the joints move. Looks like we got a gun in the second baggie up here. And probably lots of internal leg parts and stuff like that. Now, being a high grade kit, it won't have an internal skeleton like the master grades have. Here we have a couple of sets of sprues of white. They are not complete. No, they look identical, actually. Okay. And a couple of sets of clear. We have white clear and blue clear. Now, the white clear parts look like they are for some of the display bases that Bandai makes. We have our direction set. Okay, I've been tilting everything to the side. Full color direction set. That's rare. Almost full color. Okay. And for case anyone that's wondering, I haven't been out of the hospital a week yet, only a couple of days. So my arms are still a little shaky. And I don't have a lot of strength to be standing up too long. And I can't move my arms out a whole lot. But this is not your typical instruction set. There's a lot of parts. Lots going on in this instruction sheet. It's kind of big. Okay. Now what's going on here, this is your summary. It is Transformer. Okay. It's explaining to you what the extra stand bits are for. It gives you your color guide. Now they do make Gundam markers in this color guides. so you can buy them. And I'll talk about the Gundam markers in a little bit, because I did get them for the other kit, and I bought a Gundam tool set for the other kit, and we'll talk through that. Alright, but it is a transformer, and the color parts are showing you how to transform, not build. The great instruction set is for building. Alright, that's it for now. I'm going to sit down and orientate myself with this, and probably build some arms and legs. I will be back in a little bit. We're up to our first difference already, and I kind of wish I had filmed this before I cut it off the sprue. There were 3 attachment points of this part to the sprue. All 3 of them are on alignment pins. The attachment point is here. I'm off camera. I'm famous for that. The attachment point is here. It is here. And it is here. And that's alignment pin. All 3 attachment points are on the alignment pins. Because of that, I don't worry about having to clean these alignment pins up in the least bit. Now the other kit, I'm not going to get up and get it right now because it's behind me. And it's too much effort. Doesn't do that. They put attachment points dead center in the middle of parts. And when you do that, that leaves visible nib marks. And that is hard to deal with. So I just want to say, right now, this is off to a great start. Very first part, there's going to be no visible nib marks on this where you attach the part from the sprue. Now, I don't think Bandai did the gating like that first part the same on all these parts. This is the next part I'm cutting out. You can see they didn't mind putting the attachment points on the outer edges on this part. And I don't know if that's for because it's an internal part and you won't see any of those, or they just couldn't figure out how to do it any other way, which is possible. Now if we look at the gun over here, there we go. Attachment points for the gun are right on the body of the gun, and it's the whole way along the gun barrel. So they didn't get the attachment points completely where you wouldn't have nib marks. They just did in some cases, because that gun is definitely going to have attachment points, and they're going to be visible. They're minimal, they're small. Bandai's good at that too, but it's going to have it's going to have nib marks. There's no way around it. And if I was being really uptight about this gun would be painted, because that's how you hide the nib marks, to be honest. Alright, just thought I'd update that. Alright, when working with Gundam parts, and this applies to the Star Wars figures too, like the Stormtroopers and the droids. Bandai usually engineers the attachment points so they line up together. So quite often I assemble the part, then remove the extra nib from the part. It just seems to work better to have them lined up first. Now, like the Star Wars figures, this is mainly an interior part and won't be too visible. On this one, you can see the only part that was visible was right there. And you can see I sanded this fairly heavily right here. Now, one way to get rid of those sanding marks is to take some Tamiya extra thin cement, you know, this green stuff right here, and you dab it on the sanding mark thusly. Now when that dries, most of that sanding mark is going to disappear. It might leave it a little glossy, so just keep that in mind. But most of that sanding mark will disappear, like this one here and this one right here. Okay. So if you get a little too aggressive trying to remove some of these nib marks, you can always fix it with a little Tamiya extra thin. Okay. Now, there was one spot on the back of his shoulders where I had to do that. And again, it leaves it a little glossy right here.
but it does remove all your sanding. There was a really bad nib mark right there. Now, I'm going to weather this guy up when I'm done. He looks too much like a toy. So, the weathering process is going to be remove that glossiness. I'm sure of it. One other thing about this, these white outer frame parts tend to have really good attachment points to the sprue, and if you notice, there are no nib marks on any of this white. Bandai also tends to coat the outer parts with a gloss or semi-gloss coating, and because of that, you don't really want to sand on it because it will glare and stick out. So just be careful when you approach these things.
Alright, this is the gun, and let me zoom this in a little bit. Keeping him on screen. Put my hand here and it'll focus. This is a classic example of Bandai keeping nib marks the same on both parts. By putting it together first, I can clean that nib marks up together instead of separately, and that takes away the risk of making a valley in there. And they did the exact same thing on the underside. If you look right there, the nib marks line up on both sides. That way I can remove them without trouble. Now, I did forget to put the sticker that goes in there, so that'll be fun. It should have been done first, but it won't be too bad. And I already checked. That one doesn't get covered up. That one might. No, it's on the gun sight, so that one's not going to get covered up. Okay, first, I apologize for filming in my office. The house has been completely redone. The end of this video is being filmed on June 12th. Most of this video was made in August. And going through my video files, I never made a conclusion to this guy. This isn't going to be a proper conclusion because I don't have time. He does transform into this fighter jet thing. I'm not going to go upstairs and get the directions. I need to be at work pretty soon. I've also lost part of his hand, so his beam saber doesn't stay in his hand very well. But here's his beam saber. He came out nicely, in my opinion. This is a high-grade kit, and it looks fairly good for a high-grade kit. If I take him off the action base, he doesn't come with the action base. He can stand up on his own. Okay. He does have these wing thingies on his arms. It's quite posable. If you wanted to pose him around, you could. He's not very large, but then again, he's a high-grade kit, and it shouldn't be. There's lots and lots of little parts to him. I enjoyed building this guy. I did do some panel lining on him, but there isn't a lot of panels. He could, and you can see him right there, he could really use from some good detailing. And at this size, he is actually fairly detailed. There are nib marks on it in places that I just could not remove, no matter how much I tried. That's one of the problems with the high-grade kits. They don't always try to put the nib marks in good places where they are easy to remove. Alright, but anyhow, I like the kit. If you come across it and it's cheap and you want something to do on a weekend, it's definitely worth doing. Okay? Would I buy it again? Yes. Would I build it again? Yes. Will I transform it into an airplane? Probably never. Just simply because of the time frame, and I got other things to do. But I do enjoy building it. It came with lots of extra parts. So if you decide to buy this, I would. I liked him. Okay? I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's the first one I put up in a while. And I'm going through my archives, and I haven't put videos up since August. And I'm going to start putting up some videos. They're going to be mixed old and new, just so I can get my backlog done. Alright, hope you all enjoyed. Bye.